David, thank you. Well, public safety unions in Brown County are urging the Brown County Board of Supervisors to improve recruitment and retention at the 911 center.
A letter to the board addresses concerns about staffing shortages, creating excessive workloads, forced overtime, and unsafe conditions. In a First Alert update, Drew Best shares reactions from a board member and the director of the dispatch center. He's live in the newsroom. Drew.
Jason, and at least 10 different public safety unions signed off on the letter to the Board of Supervisors, calling for Brown County to further invest in its 911 dispatchers. Now, as we've reported, Brown County dispatchers have been raising concerns about understaffing at several meetings, saying it leads to a challenging work environment. Earlier this month, a dispatch worker resigned at a public safety committee meeting, saying conditions inside the center are worsening following scheduling changes implemented earlier this year. One Brown County board supervisor tells me he hopes this letter helps expand the discussion.
If you look at the organizations, it lends credibility to what the employees have been saying. The county board, we understand there are problems, except we do not have authority over any department heads. That's the executive. So Executive Streckenbach needs to really look into this now, because people are really understanding there's a cultural problem in that communication center, and it needs to be fixed.
The county's public safety communications director responding to the letter in a statement. It reads in part, quote, "Previously, the county increased 911 operator wages and hired a consultant to review operations and make best practice recommendations, which the county currently continues to implement. While changes to governmental functions, such as those recommended as best practices by the consultant, are often opposed, these changes are necessary to ensure the safety of citizens, officers, and first responders," end quote. Now, at least 27 people have left the dispatch center since the beginning of 2025, including 7 who had been there for more than a decade. Jason?